Welcome. After my camera overview of the Vivo X100 Pro was so good, I thought, maybe give you a camera overview of the Find X7 Ultra, because this one has a camera app that is slightly worse than the one on the Vivo X100 Pro, and I will show you why in this video. So let's get started. So here we have the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, and let's open up the camera application and I'll show you the camera user interface and guide you through all these things. Maybe not all the things, but most important things. So first of all, we have like the typical user interface. Of course, we have all the settings here. We can also swipe, which is quite cool because it allows you to quickly access stuff. And this is something that we can do even like almost with one hand, and we can choose like the aspect ratio here. We have various different aspect ratios. We have the timer that we can turn on. We have HDR that we can turn on and off, and have interval shooting, which is quite nice. So if you want to have multiple different kind of shots and different intervals and make a time lapse or something like this, you have the possibility to do and enable interval shooting here, which is quite nice. And then we have a sports mode here. So this will go into, actually it's called action mode, where it will have a very, very fast shutter speed, especially for fast moving subjects, kids and dogs, something very useful. It's not working 100% and you lose a little bit of image quality there and post-processing, but it's a welcome addition if you want to have a fast shutter speed. Then we have EV control. I'm a bit baffled why it's there and not somewhere here where it's like easily reachable, because if I swipe down I cannot reach it, and if I have it like with one hand here I can swipe down, but then I have the options like still in portrait mode instead of landscape, and I cannot swipe it back. Only swipe in one direction, so it's not very user friendly when it comes to the one-handed usage here. And then we have the possibility to turn on the flashlight, automatic, on, off, or always on, which is the possibility here. Photo mode, you can see we have various different options here that we can switch to all the lenses, and we have filters that we can apply as well. The one with the red, with the orange underneath here are the Hasselblad filters, so we have 3 of them here, and they're not coming on by default. I think the reason is because this one is a bit too warm. This one is maybe okay-ish, but a little less like desaturated. And this one I think is clearly too greenish blue, I would say. And yeah, some other filters there as well that we can choose. So yeah, the default one I think is still the best here for the normal photo mode. And the next thing, we have portrait mode. Portrait mode switches automatically to 3x zoom because this is the best for portraits, simply. The best also in terms of smartphones. And here, see the difference. Let me go here. As you can see here, yeah, it is switching the orientation. So I was like wondering why it was not switching the orientation, but it can switch the orientation, but I still cannot like close it with a swipe. Anyway, portrait mode, and we have some options as well, like setting a timer or an interval as well, which for portrait mode, interesting. And then we have an f-stop number that is like the depth of field control, basically. So we have the possibility to control our virtual depth of field. We have various different effects, which is the same as in the normal photo mode, so nothing like special here. And also I don't have I have a beautifier that I can do here, a retouch it's called. That's it. I don't have like any option like special camera lenses that are simulated here in this portrait mode. Let's go to video mode. This is the simple video mode. We have the possibility to choose the frame rate and the resolution. Quite nice. We can turn on HDR. HDR makes everything brighter than in this case. We have super stabilized mode, which will switch to 1080p 60 frames per second. And we can turn on the flashlight if we need to. Then we have, again, filters here. Basically the same filter as in with the photos, so nothing spectacular here. But also notice then if I go to one of the filters that it switches down to 1080p instead of 4K. So let me go to 4K and you will see the filters are off again. So the filters are only usable in 1080p. Bit of a bummer, I would say. Then we have the master mode, which is the pro mode. But this pro mode, as you can see here, is only available for photos. So we don't have any video button or any option to switch to video mode. Nevertheless, let's take a look at what we have here. We have the possibility to shoot JPEGs or RAW. There's no super or ultra RAW or something like this, at least not yet. And we can turn on the flash. We have some other settings, like again, we have the aspect ratio timer settings, but we can also enable histogram and focus speaking, which is quite nice. And we have interval shooting again and some further settings. talk about the settings later. So we have a histogram there at least. What we don't have is a microphone because we don't need a microphone for photos. But we have all the other settings that we need for Pro Mode. So white balance can be set up here. You can see we have different white balances, like the warms that we can set up in Kelvin. And we have also a tone option here that we can also regulate. I'm not sure why we have those two options, but we have those two options here, as you can see. And you can reset it just by pressing this button instead of like trying to get the old values in there. AF, you can see we have automatic enabled, or we can choose another one, and there is, or there should be, like some kind of, let me grab my Sony, trusty Sony. There should be some kind of focus speaking now available. I think I turned it on. Yeah, there we go. So if I go to the closest one, you can see some red there. So there we have focus speaking as well, which is quite nice. Otherwise you go to automatic and it will be automatic then. Then we have EV control here, like it should be as well, -3, +3. And we have the shutter speed that we can control here as well as the ISO. So you see we don't have any options to set the metering mode, for example, which is something that we struggle with. And the other option that you see, because I'm in Pro mode here right now, I have also an auto mode which will hide those Pro things, and then we have like automatic settings. And what we have in automatic settings is this button here. If I click on this, we have some tuning options which are more easily to explain for people, but also interesting, I think, for other people as well, even if you're using Pro mode, because we have the possibility to turn on vignetting or turn it off. By default it's turned on because of the Hasselblad look, and then the sharpness can be regulated here. By default it's 20, but if you need more sharpness added, you can go up or you can even go down, so you have get a softer image there as well. You can reset everything here if you want to. We have a contrast, which we can also increase or decrease if we want to, which is quite nice. And we have, what is this, saturation that we can also increase or decrease just like we want it to be. So these are the easy options for like a Pro mode. And these options are also available. If I go into Pro mode, these options are also available here, and they're called Effect in this case. So very, very nice options there that allow you to tweak the default Hasselblad tuning. So what you notice is we don't have any other options like filters or something like this in this master mode, because this is the Hasselblad look that we get here on this camera. Then we go to more, because then we have to go to more because there's no more settings. Where's the Pro video mode? There is no real Pro video mode. The closest that you can get for Pro video mode is called movie mode, and this switches to 21:9 aspect ratio and allows us just a few limited settings. As you can see here, we have like the ISO that we can set up, we have the shutter speed, we have exposure control, we have AF, and we have white balance. AF, I think, also still should have the possibility for the focus speaking. We have automatic AF now, but I don't see focus speaking now enabled. So maybe there's no focus speaking in this mode. At least I don't see anything to enable focus speaking. But we have a histogram that is quite good. I can click on it, nothing will happen there. We have the various different camera lenses that we have here that we can switch between. But again, when I start recording, the possibility to switch those lenses is gone. And for some reason you can see the focus is gone as well. Nevertheless, let's stop it here and let's check out some other options. Like, for example, we have the histogram and grids that we can turn on. We have stabilization that we can turn on and off. If I turn it on, you can see it's cropping into the picture quite large. And we can turn on the flashlight, and then we can hide all the elements. That's it, basically, for this movie mode. And yeah, it's not a Pro video mode because you have some Pro settings there, but it's a bit of limited in what it can do, and also only can record in, I think it is 4K or stretched 1080p. I think it's stretched 4K roughly. You don't even have the possibility to set a resolution here, which is a bit of a bummer still. Let's go to more again, because we have some other options. Like we have, for example, panorama mode. So there we can have like a portrait or landscape panorama. I think landscape as well. I think it wants to have a portrait panorama here. So we have the panorama mode. Let's go to other settings. Like we have high res options here. We can choose high res, like 50 megapixels on all lenses, which is quite nice. And in terms of options, we only have a timer there and the flashlight that we can turn on. So nothing big that we can change here. We have slow motion. Slow motion might be very interesting. Ooh, it's Let's go like this. We have 1080p at 240 frames per second, the maximum. Then we have 720p, 480 frames per second, and we have 240 frames per second at 720p, but no 4K slow motion here, which is at 120 frames per second, which I would expect because I think the processor and the camera sensors should be able to do this, but we don't have it here. Then we have time-lapse. So we have an interval shooting, but we also have time-lapse. So for one people who want to do it manually and the other people who wants to do it automatically. Here, by the way, swiping down is not working because there's no extra menu hidden. So we have to press those buttons here. We have 10x, 60x, 120x, 480 and 960x. And we have a time that we can set. No, we don't have a time. We have a hyperlapse that we can turn on. Which is also a possibility, but we don't have like any assistance here that guides us a little bit through what 10x or 120x is more optimized for. So this is, I think, a little bit of a bummer there. And we have some settings which goes to the settings in general. So let's just go quickly through it. So we have a watermark that we can set up, which is quite nice if we turn it on. And you have even exclusive Hasselblad watermark here, and I think there was even an exclusive one for Chinese New Year. It was turned on there, but it's not there anymore. We have a normal one that we can have, a generic one as well if you want to. Grids and guides we can turn on, diagonal lines, golden spiral, or the grid. Leveler I can turn on, shutter sound I can turn on, mirror selfie, add location, preserve settings, quite interesting because I can choose which settings should be preserved after I restart the application, like for example creative effects, exposure settings, or pro settings. I want the pro settings especially, so leave it there. We have shooting method, tap, capture, show palm, so possibility to how to shoot. So we have the possibility, as you can see, to capture this by showing the palm just in front of you, and then it will start the capture. Detect text, which helps us detecting text automatically, and then we have the possibility to copy the text out there. QR code scanning we can enable as well if you want to have automatic QR code scanning, so if you don't rely on Google Lens or any other third-party QR code scanner, it's possible to do this here. Portrait distortion correction is also there, so remove edge distortion when taking portraits of people. Quite interesting, so very, very efficient there. High efficient image format I can use as well, HEIF if you want to. Very nice format. I think it's also supporting 10-bit color space instead of 8-bit, just JPEGs does, but JPEGs are a little bit more common used still. Audio modes, we have smart here. Just leave it on smart, it's working fine. Focus log we have here that we can turn on if you want to, and high efficiency video mode, so these are video settings here. And handy features, we have volume button, act as shutter button, or we can also say zoom or volume, which doesn't make any sense in my opinion. And then we have a quick launch option, which allows us to double press either the volume down button, either of the volume buttons, actually not down buttons, but I usually use the volume down button to open up the camera. So because by default, like if you double press the power button, it's not happening. So it's not opening up the camera app. So they are mapping it to volume buttons, which is a possibility here. And this is basically it, what you can set up here in terms of settings. Let's go through the other modes that we have here. We have a long exposure mode as well, which is quite nice. So we have various different exposure modes here. I can go in here. And we have, this time, we have like some kind of assistance that tells us what it does. Moving vehicles, water and clouds, and light painting. I would want this also for time-lapse maybe. But nevertheless, we have it here at least. And we can set the exposure time there as well for such things. We have some options as well, like we can set up the timer and go into settings again. And turn on the light. And we have also filters that we can apply for this long exposure. Otherwise, let's go to more again. We have dual video view, so you can see me recording with my Honor Magic 5 Pro, and yeah, we can choose various different other layouts like this, for example, or this, and I think I can move myself around here. This is recording in 1080p only though, so both front and back are 1080p only, and we have this retouch setting that for some reason I always have to turn off in every mode. I don't like to be retouched. Let's go to sticker mode. So yeah, some playful stickers is, I think, not very interesting. AI ID photo is quite interesting. So this helps you. You can see automatically if you want to have an ID photo, you know those old photo booths where you have to sit in and put a coin in or something like this for it to take some photos for your ID card or something. You can do this now with your smartphone. It will automatically generate an ID photo. It will help you to position yourself. And I think it has also this biometric kind of things included there, at least for the Chinese market here. And will tell you what to do, how to do it. And yeah, then you can see you will have a photo. It will automatically get the background out and fix the lightings and so on so that you look nice. Otherwise, it will tell you to redo the photo, and you can do a little bit of this is interesting, you can do a little bit of retouch here, but this is off by default in this case. So here at least I have a sane setting. Otherwise, you have a text scanner, which is quite interesting. If you have some text, you can put it in there and it will automatically scan the text and crop it out, which is also quite nice. And you have some optimizations options for the text as well. And we have the expand mode. I barely use this expand mode. I'm not sure. Some nostalgic peeps might use it, want to use it here. In this case, I don't think it is very useful, at least not for me. It's not very useful. And we have exposure control here that we can use. And we can use 23, 65 or 135 millimeters. It's nice that it's now written in millimeters instead of like 1x, 3x and 6x. And so a bit more professional, but we don't have many options. You can just choose a black and white mode or a normal mode. And if you take the shot, you have a super long shutter speed, and the quality that comes out of it is not good. It's like a panorama photo, but the quality was always not very, very good. Maybe they fixed it a little bit, but I think it's a gimmick there. I don't know why one would shoot this, but it's there if you want to shoot it. So yeah, that's it. That's it in terms of camera. So this is the, you can see it's not so versatile. It doesn't have so many settings or options that you can set up. And especially like a pro video mode is what's missing on the Find X7 Ultra. I think the normal video mode is fine, but sometimes you want to set up your shutter speed. Sometimes you want to have like something fixed. Talking about the normal video mode, yes, you can switch between all lenses when recording, and you have like a nice animation there for this. You can even pause, and you have the possibility to take some shots as well, but you cannot switch to the front cam, which is like a limitation. But what we can do here as well, in this even in 4K 30, I think, is like go in and turn on. Now it will go automatically down to 1080p, as you can see here, and have a virtual bokeh enabled, so like a cinema mode or something like this. That, honestly, for the 3x and for the 1x, you don't really need it. Maybe for the 6x, I don't really need this at all, I have to say, in this case, this virtual bokeh mode. And yeah, you can choose if you want it or don't want it. I don't really like it, and I'd like to record in higher quality. And at least if they have this virtual bokeh mode that allows us to use it also with 4K. Yeah, that's basically it. Nothing else to say about the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Now you know why this has been scored a little bit lower than the Vivo X100 Pro, because we have less pro settings here, less clever settings maybe, and some inconveniences in the UI still, which make it not so good, suitable for the peeps that want to change everything, that are camera geeks that want to do everything. That's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you have some questions, write it down in the comment section. Until the next time, bye.